Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Let's begin our chapter 1, Grouping and Classification. Today we are going to talk about grouping in different ways. This is our lesson 2 of unit 1. These are the objectives that inshallah we will try to achieve in this lesson. Classify a given set of objects. Classify the same set of objects in a number of different ways, each time using a different common feature. Assort individual objects to already formed groups based on the features they share with the group. So these are the objectives that we will inshallah achieve today. You have already seen these rides, the slide, gym, merry-go-round, swings, seesaw, and the train. And there are other rides as well, which you will see in the parks. You have already helped Ali classify the rides in the activity at the beginning of the chapter. Now see what Sarim did when he came to the park the next day. Lots of kids were playing and enjoying themselves in the park. Like always, Sarim looked at the rides in a different way. He observed that on some rides, the distance of a child from the ground kept on changing. Can you think of some rides on which the distance of the rider keeps changing? What do you think of the slide? What do you think of the swings? What about the seesaw? And what will happen when you sit on a merry-go-round? When Sarim returned home, he recorded his findings in a table. Like this. I would suggest that you should pause the video here and try to fill out this table. The first column says rides on which rider's distance from ground changes. And the second column says rides on which rider's distance from the ground remains the same. So you have to use this criteria, use this particular feature and try to classify the rides into two groups. Pause the video here and do the task. Now, how do we decide that we are going to put this particular ride in this group and that particular ride in that group? The steps are the same. The first thing Sarim did was that he observed the rides closely, and I'm sure you must have done the same. He found a common feature in some of the rides, and then he made groups of rides that shared a common feature. Sarim also made two groups of rides like Ali, so both of them did the same thing. One in which a child's distance from the ground keeps changing, and the second in which children stay at the same distance from the ground throughout the ride. And you have already filled the table and you know how this was done. He used the same process to group the rides as Ali did. And what is the process? He observed the rides closely. He found a common feature in some of the rides. He made groups of rides that shared a common feature. How is his classification different from Ali's classification? Ali used a different common feature and Sarim used a different common feature. And the groups that they made were absolutely different. So which of the two classifications is correct in your opinion? What do you think? Is Ali correct or is Sarim correct? Yes, you're right. Both of them are correct. They have used different features, and based on the common feature, they have made their groups. Did you notice that we can classify the same set of things in a number of different ways based on the feature or features we focus on? There are millions of living things on earth created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Scientists have classified them into different groups. And why did they do that? Why did they need to put them in different groups? This helps them study each group easily. So this is the reason why scientists make groups. Sarah is studying about a group of animals that belongs to the cat family. This family is called feline in science. She is studying about cheetah, puma, jaguar, leopard, lion, lynx, tiger, and domestic cat. They share a number of common features. All of them are carnivores. Which animals are carnivores? Carnivores are those animals that eat meat. And herbivores are those animals that eat herbs, that is plants. And omnivores are those animals that eat plants as well as meat. So they eat both the things. That is why they are called omnivores. So all these animals that Sarah is studying about, cheetah and puma and jaguar, leopard, lion, lynx, tiger, and domestic cat, all of them are carnivores. Can you find out some more common features? Just look at all these animals, think of all these animals, and decide what other common features do they have. You can pause the video here and list down the common features that you can think of. Now there is a task for you. Stop and ask yourself. Question number 1 says, after doing the laundry, how does your mother sort it? And the question number 2 is, Amna has classified some items in a key chart over here. Can you guess the common features she focused on and name each column? In the first column, we have hair clip, hair ties, hair bands, hair pins. And in the second column, we have earrings, bracelets, necklace, bangles, rings, anklet, and brooch. Question number 3 says, name some animals included in the cat family. This exercise is there on page 7 of your book. Okay. What did I learn? First of all, you have to make a concept map of whatever you have learned in this chapter. Then you need to check each of these objectives, whether you have achieved them or not. Can you define classification? Can you tell why scientists use classification? Can you compare two objects and tell their similarities and differences? Can you tell why some objects can be placed in some group in one classification and in a different group in another classification? So they are in the same group in one classification and then they are put in different groups in another classification. Can you classify the objects in groups using the process of classification? Can you do all that? If you can, you will put a tick over here. Some of the vocabulary that you learned in this unit is classification, merry-go-round, similarity, feature, monkey bar, spring rider. And to learn the spelling of new words, you need to use this procedure. Look at the word, then say the word, then cover it, and then write from memory. And finally, check whether you have made any mistake or not. Okay, here is a group of items. So we have an ant, a flag, a fly, a parrot, pins, computer, bulb, and flower pots. What you have to do is you have to classify them into two groups and complete this graph. The first bar is for living things and the second bar is for non-living things. Then do all the questions from page number 9 to 14, that is question number 1 to 6 in your book. Finally, here is a project for you, classifying shapes. Trace the shapes on a cardboard sheet with the help of your mother and cut them out. In how many different ways can you group them? Try using different common features each time you group them. Explain your classification to your family members. Take photographs of each grouping and share with everyone. So you can classify them in different ways and then you can take their photographs and share with me as well. And this project is given on page 14 of your book. That's all. Jazakallah.